We're going to have an incredible afternoon. So before we start the salon, of course, I would like to welcome you all to Palmerston Library Theatre, and especially like to thank two wonderful women, Yana Georgieva Kaluba, who was the librarian here when I first approached Palmerston. She's the branch manager at Oakville now, and Misuk Hedman, the branch manager here, for the use of this beautiful space to run our poetry and music salons. And our books are in the library too. I mean, we are part of the... So halfway through, we'll have a break. There's light refreshments in the back. I would like to thank Metro, who gave me a $25 gift certificate to buy cookies and juice. So thank you, Metro. So for my poetry and music salon fundraiser this year, I chose Doctors Without Borders. They're a medical relief organization who run medical projects in over 70 countries worldwide, and they focus particularly on emergency medical and humanitarian relief. And for over 40 years, MSF has provided medical assistance to people affected by armed conflicts, natural disasters, disease, epidemics, malnutrition, crises, and other emergencies. Of the donations, 82% go to a massive emergency relief fund used for projects in the field, 15% to fundraising, and 3% to administration. If you donate more than $10, they will give you a tax receipt. You can do that online, or you can donate here, and if you would like that, we have a form you just fill out, and then when I take the dough to them, when I take your generosity to them on Monday, I'll give them the list. Last year, my fundraiser was for the Fort McMurray Fire Relief Fund, and it was on an evening, so it was very well attended. We actually made $405 in the donation box, and then the government, and that I gave that to the Red Cross, and the government doubled the donation, so it was actually a donation of $810, and I'm very happy to say, as of this moment, we have $400 donated online. So I'm really hoping we'll come to the 800 that we did last year, but we'll do it on our own steam. And I have been out begging a few people, some publishers, and and they've all donated. So I'm very happy, feel very blessed, and I think this is a wonderful thing to be doing. I'm just so delighted so many people have come out to give of their talents for a good cause. So I'm really, really, really proud of you all. All right. So we're going to
go. Testing.
Hi. That's the voice of the conscience. Or something. Yeah. I mean, we could make you the super id. No, that would be... So I'd like to get started with two very special, wonderful, and talented friends, people, members of the Toronto poetry and music community. I'd like to welcome Heather Babcock and Neil Traynor. I know you're going to enjoy these two. They're an amazing couple. They're both so talented in their areas. It's fabulous. So
thank you so much, Brenda, and we're so happy to be here. It's always a pleasure to be at Brenda's salon, and it's always an inspiring afternoon. I wish I could stay for the whole thing. Unfortunately, the day job calls, but I'm so happy that Brenda kindly let us open the show, and thank you so much. This is Pennies and Cigarette Butts. The world is a very curious place at 6 in the morning. With only the light of the retiring moon to guide her, a girl learns to watch her back. Eyes wide open, the city becomes a rather disquieting kaleidoscope of winding, esoteric concrete, clandestine alley cats, and lone automobiles driven by dispirited men with dead eyes and sloppy jaws. The air inside the tenement building, where my sister Clara and I grew up, was thick with the effluvia of bodily waste. Today, an odorless glass office building sits in its place. The city, however, is still rife with the smell of human sweat. For the past 56 years, I have walked these streets in the early morning hours, searching for Clara. The last time that I saw her, she was a pretty 16-year-old girl in a pale blue coat, leaving our home at 6 a.m. to catch the trolley that would take her to her job at the old Eaton's factory. Nobody sees a heartbroken old man. Pretty girls, on the other hand, are often seen, but seldom found. My brother Walter thinks that we don't see each other, but every morning he walks right through me. I am the city's naked winter trees, made more vulnerable by the garish Christmas lights wrapped around bony branches. I am the bits of snow falling from a pink-red sky, melting in an eye blink. I am the concrete that my brother walks upon, and I am the pennies and cigarette butts under his feet. I am all of these things that have fallen, and I am all of these things which have been thrown away. Thank you. I'm just going to...
Well, we're doing the one together, and then I'm going to sing a couple.
So I'm just going to read a poem now, and then Neil's going to perform a couple of pieces of his own. This is a poem for my father. My father was born on Atlas Avenue, St. Clair and Dufferin, during the 3rd year of the Great Depression. My father loved animals. His mother hated them. His pet was a medium-sized turtle who lived in his backyard. One day, my father came home from school to find that the turtle was gone. Ran away, his mother said. So my father ran away too. A white lie about his birth date, and he was a sailor, spinning dials in the belly of a ship. Older men hooked their medals, and pretty girls pinned their dreams onto him until he got so thirsty and tired that the Navy doctor said, "You'll lose an eye or a leg if you keep going." So my father traded in his white bell-bottomed uniform, a pet monkey named Sims, and the sempiternal seas for a collared shirt and tie, 3 quarrelsome women, and syringes fat with insulin. It was during the 3rd year of the millennial financial crisis when the jelly bean-shaped doctor with the jack-in-the-box voice said, "Your father is brain dead, and he will never wake up." As I looked upon my father, white cotton pads covering his eyes, a machine filling his body like a balloon, I thought about the navy, the turtle, and the monkey. And I wondered about my father's fears and what the music inside his head had sounded like. And I thought, I'll never know the name of the girl my father first kissed. Thank you.
Tune because we care.
Okay, this is, hello? Try this one. Hello. This is, it's a little thing I wrote. It's called, Leave the Light On Brightly.
She was full of pride and full of pain. Heart true like sun, eyes like rain. When you see her in the morning, coming down the shady lane, you will say goodbye to yesterday. She will never break, she cannot fall. Tries to right the wrongs on the wall. You will offer her all she asks you, hoping soon she'll come to call. And you will say goodbye to yesterday. She don't care about the fashion, she ain't looking for no reaction. Sits so high above it all upon the garden wall. And you will say goodbye to yesterday. She don't care about the fashion, she ain't looking for no reaction. Sits so high above it all upon the garden wall. And you will say goodbye to yesterday. She will come to claim all that she's owed. Leaves the light on bright above the door, giving up all of the places that you once thought were your home. Oh, you have said goodbye to yesterday. Oh, you have said goodbye to yesterday.
I got one more for you. Be putting out an album of tuning pretty soon. And this is probably inappropriate since we're starting the show off here, but it's the one I'm doing, so you're stuck with it. It's another little thing I writ to myself. It's called Good Night.
Good night, it's all been said. The loser played the game, and once again the rules were changed to keep him on the ground, where loneliness lays all around, where there's nothing left to say but good night. Good night, it's all been done. It's all been made quite clear that nothing ever changes here, where love is just a clown whose empty words are all shot down, and there's nothing left to say but good night. You're finished, completely diminished, obliterated right out of sight. It started the parade of broken-hearted as you in its sights struck down from the heights, where there's nothing left to say but good night. Goodbye, it's over now. There are the lucky ones who drove their flag into the sun and claimed it for themselves. To hell with everybody else. And there's nothing left to say but good night.
Thank you.
That was really terrific. Wow, you can see what an amazing couple they are. They're both so talented in their own rights, but they've managed to merge their creativity and produce these beautiful synergistic performances. Heather and Neil do run their own event maybe once a season or so, or at least they've done 2 or 3. They're well worth going to. They're fabulous, and they always have them out at High Route. So connect on Facebook, or so that you're in the loop. They're not to be missed. That's it. It's an order. Okay, well, so our next feature is Stanley Fefferman. Do you want to come down, Stanley? He was Naropa, York University. He just had his first book of poetry published by Gwen.
In support of, congratulations to you once again for being compassionate and charitable and helping out the world. I'm going to be reading from my book, Home Was Elsewhere. And I brought 6 copies to sell. And I'm telling you that not just because I don't have a commercial bone in my body, but because the book is $20. If you give me 10, and you give 10 to Doctors Without Borders, you get a receipt. And we all win.
I'll buy one, Stanley.
Give me 10 and give them 11. Because I take 9 even, but you don't have 9. And I don't have change. So anyways, $10, and then give whatever you want to Doctors Without Borders, and we'll be friends forever. So my poems that I'm reading are about healing appropriately. Not healing medically, but healing through love, through meditation in particular, and through sort of compassionate awareness. However, the first poem is a poem that I like to read here in this theater, we have one more time here, and then goodbye. It's called In the Circle of Light, and it goes like this. Hello. This is a theater. Every move is real. The world is watching. We are naked. The darkness is all around. Here in the circle of light, it is rose and gold and blue and alive. My body is warm. My thoughts dissolve easily. I am in love with intelligence. I can wait. My cave is filled with butterflies. Okay, so now I'd like to read you a story that will take us into the Rockies. And it's about healing. It's called Bird Brain, not personal to anybody I know, except perhaps myself. I enjoyed 3 solitary months, mostly snowbound, in a cabin in the Rockies, performing a tantric liturgy that involved tossing a lot of rice at the shrine. Each morning before my sunrise session, I'd sweep up yesterday's offerings and leave them on the porch for the cleaning crew, a pair of black-capped chickadees. In my solitude, I began to think of them as friends of mine. One sunny day after lunch and my daily walk, I returned to my cushion. I worked on visualizing the mandala, but all I could think of was my walk, the brilliant, crunchy corn snow studded with orange and gold lichen rocks, mats of dry red needles under the ponderosas, holly green red-berried kinnikinics, and the fragrance of ground juniper. I opened my cabin door, hoping that the combined energies of outside and inside might focus my meditation, and on that thought, I sat down, closed my eyes, and began to chant my way into the mandala. A jolt of energy hit me on the back of the neck, snapped my eyes open, and there on my bed, propped on its tail, claws extended uselessly out in front, was a chickadee. It must have flown through the open door, probably at full speed, crashed into the window, caromed off my neck, and dropped onto the sleeping platform. I decided to keep meditating, but with my eyes open, allowing space in my awareness for the bird. The chickadee's eyelids were shut, its beak opening and closing spasmodically. He blinked a few times and stared straight ahead. Then the little guy began hurling himself at the window repeatedly till he fell back exhausted. Recovered, he'd start again. His bird brain seemed stuck on the problem of glass and the spaces on both sides of it. I felt pity for my little friend. I hoped he would let go, explore, and look for the open door, but total panic fooled him into his losing battle. I thought about helping him out, but decided to let the situation work itself out. Soon his partner flew into the cabin and began her assault on the problematic window. When she splattered excrement on my text, I decided to act. I wiped my text with a paper towel, and towel in hand, approached the partner, who turned out to be the intelligent one. As I was closing in, she flew straight out the door. I turned to see whether her freaked out friend would follow, but he remained stuck on bouncing himself off the window. I caught him on a rebound. Once inside the towel, he stopped struggling. I carried him out to the porch, opened the towel, and he shot into space. I went back to my cushion and continued to work at liberating myself. The next morning, as though nothing had happened, my cleaning crew showed up for work.
Hey, thank you, Stanley. I love that piece. Wow, gorgeous. Our next feature is a very special friend and poet and artist and a very warm-hearted person, Jennifer Hosein.
Thank you, Brenda. It's an honor to be a part of the Words and Music Salon and Fundraiser. Thank you, Brenda, for including me and for your dedication to supporting poets and musicians. We're going to miss the salon. Okay. Oh. My first poem is called Subterfuge. I, too, once lived a life of subterfuge, voice pressed into the phone, shoulders tucked into a wall, so that I became the thin voice itself and little more. I know the moment of falling flat onto the eggshells that litter your house. You tiptoe until one day feet press into air and you are ascending. I used to walk through clouds, climb painstakingly out of my skin, turning my back on this breathing life that tied me down and bound me up in electrical cords. Next one is called Leap Day. Leap Day is snow blowing across your eyelids when you finally kiss sleep like a dead man at 8 in the morning. The telephone begins ringing at 10, but you hear only the snow falling. The wind blows a storm through your eyes. The sky sits behind the clouds, and a storm blows through again. I wait for the sky. For a few hours, I can live in the solace of your sadness because you can see who I am in the moments you are still. But I am always anticipating the moment you throw your limbs around the room, scattering your shattered soul, throwing your ugliest voice at me. When your words knock me to the floor, I pick up the pieces and walk away. You watch the hours drop like days through the night, walk in circles until nothing, just snow and the dream of beer. So up again to pull a bottle from under the sink, like a magician pulling a rabbit from a hat. Beer is your bread, your fish, your salvation. My mother had heart surgery a few years ago, which was followed by 2 strokes, and then she passed away. The time in between was very, very painful for her and for those that loved her. So there are 3 poems here about her. The first one is called Heart. My mother's heart begins to drift away, but we are selfish and tell her to let them fix it, and we pace and pace the days. Don't tell her it's a poor sign, aortic valves open and close, that keeps her herself until she is not herself. Voice crooked, face fallen, buttons askew, and pants half on the floor. I cannot begin. Beloved mother is a clipped-winged bird that floats around in lace-edged nightgowns, soft, soft skin like a schoolgirl's, shooing away the cats and always packing her clothes to go home. Next one is called Gifts. My mother stands at the window looking out at the cars below, while the days go around in circles and Tuesday is April, is another year gone by. Her voice is careful and ragged, catching on air. She calls all day, every day, asking why I haven't called. I call. Every day we find words to hand to each other like gifts. She leaves messages, breathless words thrown out to lash onto love. My brother has no time for the heartbreakingness of the old, and I have no place left to put the sorrow she hands me. 6 days after my mother died, my daughter moved to Los Angeles. I was adrift and lost, in loss. My next poem borrows from the Greek myth of the goddess Demeter, who, when her daughter Persephone was abducted by the king of the underworld, despaired and did not do her job as the goddess of the harvest, which resulted in winter. In this poem, I am both Demeter and Persephone. Winter, it's called Winter. I am Demeter, in winter black as Hades, turning fields to stone, forests to dust, in my wrath and despair that my beloved is gone. I pick rocks from the side of the road to eat in the absence of corn. They thunder along my intestines, dulling the noise in my head. Persephone, why have you gone to chase after shadows? I scream inside the walls of February, wait for my beloved who is light, breath, sun, spring. Make love to boys I have turned to bones in this drought I have brought. I am Persephone, bound beneath the light, longing for the tick of my mother's heart, the pad of her yellowed feet on the floor. But my winter will linger for years, and my mother will tread across the skies, her feet into mountains, her face yellow as the sun, peering down at the shadow I have become. Demeter is my mother, Persephone my daughter. I am neither, I am all. I am only winter. Okay. In the late summer of that same year, my daughter got married in Los Angeles. This poem is about that time, called Wedding Day. You are the princess beneath my pillow. I am the pea that sways in the corners of your night. You are my map of the city. Every place is only meaningful in the way that you were there with me. This is the airport that you are leaving me from. This is the road that takes me away from you. When you leave, you take the light away. I wait for your whisper. Hold tight to the pillow that you laid your head upon, as if it were love itself. I pull stitches out of your discarded dresses, unraveling the years between us. Then I begin to sew your wedding dress, the threads of my loneliness tangled with tears. Tree lights string me across the desert, my feet parched with longing. Across the universe, in a sun-bleached room, I lay the snow-white dress on the bed. Today is your wedding day. You tug at the hem of your dress, dip your white heels into the grass. In the Hollywood afternoon, you are breathtakingly happy. In the morning, I have to return to my life without you. I press my tears to the door of your hotel room to feel your breath. When I look for you in mirrors, you shine behind my eyes. Sometimes you whisper to me to wrap you tight in the star-punched night. Okay, two more. This is about another young woman who passed away in the same year, called Window. She rolled through sky like butter, night effervescent with the glow that spit out of her, embers turning into stars in the sky that could not love her the way she or anybody needed. But you loved her, gave her walls to keep her safe, food to buy her time. But the walls bent as if your sins had chewed furiously at them, multi-legged termite ghosts through days and days. And what did she see when she stepped into sky and dreams and dusk that sounded like city squalor banging prayers in her head? And how can you sleep in your bed by the window that I, in another spring, leaned out of to watch the schoolboys below? This is my last piece. I began to write this in the fall last year, maybe the summer, and finished it the day after the American election. It's called White, after November 8th, 2016. I used to daydream that white was a tablet you could place on your tongue and the morning would be a better place. But here now, in my tiny radius of the world, St. Clair to the lake, Dufferin to Pape, I am almost white. I pass through doors and no one sees me or calls me names to my face. But it's only here that I pass, in perfectly pressed clothes that I nip and tuck to not draw attention to my skin. Not north, where I am a dark spot on snow. Not south, where I am a stain that warrants walls to keep me out, registries, bullets, and jails. The other day it occurred to me that I didn't wish to be white anymore, the way I had wished when I was 10 and 7 and 5, the first time I was punched, spit on, pushed, barred, called Paki, and go back to your country, and you don't belong. That was a long time ago, when I couldn't walk with my head up or down. In those times, I was a fortunate one. I wasn't beaten up, scrubbed out, mutilated, or bombed. But yesterday, they put a noose around a boy's neck and yanked, and they are yelling, "Go back to where you came from," and "Your time's up," and "Heil Hitler." I think I might need that pill soon. Thank you.
Wow, that was a great set. And now we have Janina La Papita, who went south to become an associate professor of Spanish, but she is very much part of the fabric of Toronto. And so I'd like to welcome Janina. So welcome, Jeannine. Come over here. She's a fabulous poet, too.
Don't get their hopes up.
Besides everything else. So is this a little bit lower?
I think this is all right. Hi, well, this is a little strange. I can't see anyone. Yeah, who has the donation box right now? I'm not going to be able to see you. Let's see, who's got it? There we go. Okay, so I'm the one responsible for it. So after, when we have the break, I will take it and keep track of it. So thank you so much, Brenda, for organizing this and for inviting me to jump in last minute to this lovely reading in honor of Doctors Without Borders. So, picking up a little on Jennifer's poem, going with Demeter and Persephone, mythology, etc., I will read a poem I wrote about La Llorona, who is a principal figure in Mexican mythology. La Llorona. I am not La Virgen de Guadalupe, that praying goddess in blue and pink, cocooned by spikes, a yellow fence. For hours I knelt before her image, asked her what made her demand a church built in her name. She pretends to give without taking. She hears our prayers and stands on them like roses beneath her feet, lets our cancer and heartbreak and unpaid bills adorn her. I tried to live in such unlaughing, unweeping compassion, a love that pretends to ask nothing from no one, but I can't. I am not La Malinche, the conquistador's interpreter, America's original Eve. In the painting, she rides with Cortés on his horse, every little girl's fantasy of growing up beautiful, desired, loved, not knowing that so often they'll end up chingada, remade into an instrument for the use of some man. I wonder how she felt as her people's temples were looted, women and children enslaved, thousands of years of history erased. I, too, have painted futures from the blue, green, brown watercolors of men's eyes, crystal palaces from their light. But really, I have nothing a conquistador would take. Instead, I will be La Llorona, that weeping mother who, enraged, drowned her children to spite the man who betrayed her. Like her, I walk the earth, struggling to believe I'll find them, not accepting I've drowned the beloved future that came out of me. La Virgen stares down in compassionate reproach. La Malinche looks up and laughs. I walk and walk with my graveyard flowers, begging the singer to give me mercy, hoping one day I'll return to heaven and find a door ajar. Here's another Virgin Mary poem. I'm quite a Virgin Mary fan. I'll read this one for you. It's called Mary Comes Down. It is said she was assumed into heaven. Deathless, she stood on the moon, was crowned with 12 stars. But today in Rome, I see her begging outside the stone churches that hold her statue. In Jordan, she sleeps in a refugee camp, invites neighbors for tea, shoots a film of her kids pick up soccer games. She's heard that in the West, they like this sort of thing. In the San Fernando Valley, she bends to harvest grapes. She cuts garlic and gets half the wages she was promised. In Mexico, she sells lace and tells anyone who will listen that 4 of her sons have disappeared from Veracruz. In Iowa, she sweeps the floor at Walmart after the other workers have left. Before that, she worked in a slaughterhouse, her task to kill the male chicks. She who once deflected the plague's sharpest arrows now tends to those dying of AIDS in a Kenyan village. Sometimes she makes the news when her raft capsizes on the Mediterranean, but it goes unnoticed when she is sold into slavery, dies in childbirth, walks for a day to fetch water, and finds the well dry. Again and again, her son offers to raise her, adorn her in royal blue, a final glorious mystery. Again and again, she shakes her head, gives the diadem back, casts off her mantle to cover a child. Next one I'll read, my birthday is coming up. I don't know if there are any other Geminis in the room beside me. So here's a birthday poem. June 4th, 1989. I wake up. The sun is shining. Lilacs bloom on the branches. Peonies teem with ants. Beetles build a new world under rocks. Today is my birthday. My mother is making potato salad. My father is pulling out card tables and the grill. Tonight there will be a party. At 6 years old, I feel I've lived forever. All this spring, I have checked the robins' blue eggs in the nest they made outside our door. At Easter, I held my babcha's hand, wore the orchid corsage she gave me. A few weeks ago, we visited Disney. I hugged Mickey Mouse, kissed Minnie, visited replicas of Egypt and Mexico, believing all of it as real, as Mrs. Bova, my kindergarten teacher, as the crossing guard outside my school. Today, I help my mother dust the French doors, comb the fringe of Persian rugs, arrange a bouquet of silky roses, barely hearing the television's watery chatter. My world is garden walks with my father, babcha's blue pleated dresses, mama's pancakes, still spring afternoons waiting for swallowtails to land on the crease of my blouse. I do not know that on the other side of the earth, streets teem with people shouting for joy. This day will be remembered, red and white, colors of the flag, as that moment when, after 50 years, freedom returned to Poland. I do not know that on still another side, Beijing's streets teem with people, screaming, fleeing, red and white, colors of blood and pale faces, filled with the worst kind of death, a death preceded by fear. Decades later, it will be mentioned in hushed tones, the June 4th incident that burns the backs of wordless throats. Today is my birthday. I am turning 6 years old. Relatives and friends gather to eat burgers. My mother is making potato salad. I open presents, Barbie dolls, clothes, my first bicycle. I blow out the candles on my Mickey Mouse cake and wonder what I should wish for. Thanks. I'll just do one more and then short one. Okay. All right. I've got a short one. Let me just find it. Yeah, I forget how long my pieces are. Here's a short one. Yeah. To an immigrant, this is dedicated to a friend of mine. I want to touch your life with mine, to accompany you in the Halloween pumpkin carvings, Thanksgiving dinners, the festoonings of windows with Christmas lights. Photographs let me glimpse you, follow you down winter, summer streets, as your eyes reach to touch the camera's light. You've known the emptiness in a child's cry, the din of falling bombs, nights spent hiding in a desert village, days crumpled in a truck before boarding a plane, bound for a place you'd never thought you'd live. I want to touch your life with mine, let my hand clasp your picture's corners, rummage through dollar stores in search of orange masks, bake October pumpkin pie, pour December wine, help you transform this labyrinth of ads and holidays into a home. Thanks.
Fabulous poetry. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for coming out to support this fundraiser. Absolutely delighted and honored and very proud of everyone. And, we are what we give. So the more we give, the more we are. So welcome, Tom. Well known in the community. He runs the Urban Folk Salon the last Thursday of every month. That will be continuing at Mount Pleasant Library. Try to make it out there. And he's a maestro violinist, a poet. He's a fabulous man. Welcome, Tom.
Hello, everyone. I know everyone here and have great affection for all of you. So we don't need to do anything more than say that as well that for this particular event, I did work with Doctors Without Borders back in the 1980s, along with the Interchurch Committee on Human Rights. I was in El Salvador during those years in the 1980s when there was war going on. So Doctors Without Borders was we're important liaisons. Anyway, we all work together, in other words. I'm going to give you something that is apropos because during those years and for many years before that, I was writing poetry and wrote poetry all throughout the time that I was delivering medical aid and, of course, required that coordination with the doctors, those few who are actually in the zones of popular control in El Salvador. So this one goes back to Portland. The ceiling of her den is a ruby complexion. Mementos perch on crags of wood paneling. Smoking non-filter menthol by the carton. She, like her late husband, is no quitter. Beneath a cordial cloud, reservedly she speaks of moving to the coast, where amber fingers would gladly press into some key service again, typing inventory for the latest campaign or news from Strategic Southern Command. But she stays and copes with a minor palsy, clatters cup and saucer on the desk of the deceased. 3 uniformed sons adorn her mantle. The oldest fell in a routine tour of reconnaissance over Western Europe. The middle in a heavy monsoon and horizontal rain of lead patrolling rice paddies. And her youngest now divides his time between drunk tank, state pen, and psychiatric ward in therapy with his buddies. Strewn along the shelf by these portraits, some agates, yellow, milky, red, announce American Earth has a volcanic baby spitting up along its active rim. Mounts Rainier and Shasta, her breasts painted on chrome fuselages, brand names of the effervescent beverages that fed her children pending conscription. 200 million years, the land still grows. At 200, the nation still believes 18 is not so young. And at 60, her baby still believes, still doesn't know whether he's in or out of action. Dormant until upon some private scale, he rips the pin from a can of Rainier and hurls it at the bartender. Or, breaking a bottle of Shasta, responds to a cop responding to the call. Whose fault, San Andreas? Where on earth does it lie? Beneath purple mountains, puking up stones? Beneath the photos of the brave, pronounced insane? Or in the home of that smoldering mother, scared of tumbling into the sea? Thank you. And I am still your partner in this dance, as each day is a lovely, deadly partner to the next. As certain as your body or the shadow of your body is cast in the afterglow of ecstasy, desire, or the memory of desire will remain in your aftermath, tango or macabre. I cannot say which is the greater agony, but when the night returns without you in love and in the grave, I am still your partner in this dance. I cannot say if the greater loss is in forgetting, being neither capable of nor willing to forget. But while I am still your partner, recalling no fear in your eyes, I will dance in shadow and whisper to the soft light, gracias por la baila, gracias a la vida. I have one more. Requiem. Rocking a bit as it burns out on the lake. So far, I can't make it out. Fathomless are the clouds and my concerns with our loss. I'm not among the drive-through mourners, their jiffy grief, disposable shrouds. I take no souvenir from your stuff, no keepsake from your few belongings. It's enough to recall your brow furrowed at the news, your end too quick to ponder, too ponderous to call merciful. You, the kind, easygoing kind, least easy to let go. I saw you drop half yourself, calling it goodbye. All hope you'd recover gone south, past the farms, over to your palliative outpost. When all talk was done and your mouth no longer could request a clean cloth to wipe its corners, there should have been the gentlest hand holding yours, and holding you, strong arms that if they rocked you forever, couldn't rock you enough. Play.
welcome Michael. He's just
I
going
need a
to
mic for my voice, though.
go in, and then it'll be Jim. Okay. Michael Marian is a fabulous musician. He's just launched a CD. It's gorgeous. So,
Thank you.
yeah, connect with him about it.
Okay, all right. I'm glad I get to write songs. It came out of, for me, my daughter, I've been trying to get her to write, and she's very, very creative. She sings. She's the kind of kid that when I said, wow, would you like singing lessons? And she looked at me weird. It's like I asked her if she wanted walking lessons. It's such a given that we sing. What do you mean singing lessons? It's like getting breathing lessons. I mean, you can, but anyways. But we certainly live in a time, I don't know, at least for me, where you can't really talk things very well these days without getting into a fight, or someone's reading a book called The Age of Anger, and maybe that's where we're at. But songwriting is awesome in terms of being able to express, or any creative form, of course. But anyways. So I'm going to go into a kind of a stormy kind of song, which we just did a little bit of an intro to. It's called Listen to the Waves, or alternatively, Sweet Suicide. Listen to the waves. Listen to the waves. Listen to the waves. Listen to the waves. I am the archetypal fool. Don't like to play by the rules. Trading soul for materiality and living through video vicariously. Lip service to an alienated God. Fear of losing that prestigious job. The endless shopping and the shifting moods. Advertising guiding our every move. Well, it's a life, and I give my heart, my life. And if that's suicide, well, then I guess it's a sweet suicide. So I go out walking along the beach to see what Ontario could teach. She touches a wave upon a rock, inviting me to hear her talk. She tells me a story from long ago of a people that were brave and bold, and how they lived here once proud and free, with the spirit of animal, lake, land, sky, and tree. Well, it's a life that they lived with their hearts and souls, and they still live on in the waves upon these shores. Listen to the waves. Listen to the waves. then tells me of another shore with treasures rich as the heart can hold. A woman kneeling before a silvery moon, and in her hands a piece of golden fruit. I hear calling out my name, and no, I'll never forever remain the same. And so I say to you, farewell. May you have stories all to tell, 'cause it's alive, and I give my heart, my life. And if it's suicide, well then I guess it's a sweet suicide. Yeah, it's alive, and I give my heart, my life. And if it's suicide, well then I guess it's a sweet suicide. Sweet suicide. Sweet suicide. Sweet suicide. Sweet suicide. Thank you. It's a little. Sorry? Okay. I'll see if I can truncate this one. She heads out alone down Young Street. Something, someone is calling her name. See to refrains, no mistake. I'm lonesome in the queue on my break, when Sita cuts through the haze, fills my cup, tenderly says, no mistake, and loves the cardamom in the chai. Ah, she says, turn your love on me and wish upon your dream. Turn your love on me and know your way. Riding that wheel of fortune in pain, dark night descending, emotional slave, aware of the damage, but it's too dark to see. Suddenly sunshine, shine down on me. Shine down on me. Now I see love shining bright from me, warm, inviting, colored like buried trash, held against the cold November. angels in disguise among us. Someplace, somewhere through the cold raining skies. Sita will say namaste. Namaste. Turn your love on me and wish upon your dreams. Turn your love on me and know your way. Turn your love on me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Michael's CD is only available for download. You can download very high quality audio file. Yeah, but they can get it from you too, and as well as iTunes, etc. But what I wanted to say is if you buy it, you can take Michael with you wherever you go. So next is Jim McCuaig. Jim is a fabulous guitarist. So happy that Jim and Karen are here. Tricia featured last month, and she brought something like 5 period instruments. Yeah. She gave us like an entire mini capsule of medieval music. It was phenomenal, and the video is online.
Oh, well.
Oh, you didn't see it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, she didn't see it yet. So she's fabulous. She's does medieval psaltery, and she has a group, Numa. They focus on the 12th and 13th century. And thank you, Tricia, for coming out again and supporting our fundraiser.
Thanks, everyone. It's great to be here for Doctors Without Borders. They're a group I really admire for their work. And I do occasionally joke about the 12th century as being the high point of music, but that is a bit of a joke. But people do still reference the troubadours in poetry every so often. You know, it does occasionally happen. Earlier here, even. So I've had this instrument now for 18 days. And after having it for 4 days, I performed on it. I'd commissioned it from my friend Mari Palonen, who's a fantastic instrument maker. He does mostly Finnish-style kantele. And I played one of his kantele here last time. This was for a piece that I was doing with my band called Floris and Blanchefleur, which was one of the most popular romances of the 12th and 13th centuries. But today I will just do you a very quick, because I know there's a lot of performers here. We're short of time, and you can come and see my band sometime if you like. Quand le bas fresque folapar e la flor bottone il vergian il rossignolo tezze clar leva sa voce musoncian gioia de lui e gioia de la flor e gioia de mi e de madame major de totes parts sui de gioia classe sen et siat joy que tots otras joies vens. Ai las con morde cosirar, que mantes vitsen cosirtan, lai romen poiran portar, que renos abria que fan, por Dieu amor, ben trobas vencedor, a pox de mix es otro señor, car una vez tan valo no destrens, abans cufos de deseri restens. Maravil me compost durar, qui nol demonstre talents, car vi mi dons ni mesgar, mais si le belot el ne mestan, par pot mit en garevis les no cor, si fere ius et vano pepaior, cac non figors mestelats ne dipen. Ab obsta marsiat angris nilens. So having just done a 2 weeks ago, like an hour and a half long performance with my band playing for about 90 minutes continuously, and me speaking and singing for about 89 minutes, I feel a little bit played out. So I'm just going to I'll do a very quick piece from the that was part of the play on my little ear here. And then I'll turn it over to the next person. But come out and hear Numa Ensemble sometime if you like. And if you have any questions about the lyre, feel free to come and have a look at it afterwards, if you're curious. About the orchard go the wall. I should introduce this piece a little bit. Floris and Blanchefleur is it's probably one of the most popular pieces of the 12th century, 12th and 13th centuries. The original version is 12th century French, and then it got translated into pretty much every European language from like Greek to Old Norse. There's actually like a piece called Floris Saga in Old Norse, which is the same plot. And it concerns a Muslim boy and a Christian girl who are born on the same day and raised in the same court. And they're pretty hard to tell apart, except one's a boy and one's a girl. And they grow up together and they're best friends, and then puberty hits and suddenly everyone's all in a panic because they think they're going to get married, which they eventually do at the end of the romance. But, horrifying, yeah. So there's this huge attempt to get rid of this annoying girl who's going to. Her mother is basically a captive of war, but a well-treated captive for the most part, so they try to separate them using a couple of different techniques, and then eventually they tell Floris, the hero, that she's dead, having sold her off to some merchants, and that long story ensues, and they get back together in the end. Everything ends happily. But while Floris is searching for his beloved, he comes across, after a whole series of encounters with people who say, "Oh, you look just like that girl who was here the other day." He comes across a man named Darius who is going to help him. And Darius explains that there's absolutely no way he can rescue his beloved. It's totally impossible. If all the men around decided that they were going to join forces together and rescue her, they might as well try to, bring down the sun and moon from the heavens. And then he explains how she's going to get married off to the local king. And then he finally, when he realizes that Floris is not going to be dissuaded, he explains how to rescue her. But this is the song that he sings, where he's explaining how she's going to be married off to the local king in 13th century English. About the orchard go the wall, there was Johnny's crystal, there mein men sit in the stomach all of this world's wisdom. And a well there springeth in, that is wrought with mickle gin. The well is of muckle bris, the stream come from Paradise. And in the well is so muckle lie, if there cometh any maiden that is for lie, and she boweth to the ground for to wash on her hand. The water will yell as it were wood, and be comin' on her so red, so blood, which made the water fair thon so, she shall soon be fordo. And they that pickly maidens be, men shall him bring under that tree. Whoso falleth on the floor, she shall be chosen queen with honor. And if there any maiden is, that the emerald heart of Master praise, the flower shall on her be sent, through heart and the enchantment.
see why, I love her so much. Thank you very much, Tricia. Now we're going to have another beautiful woman. We have so many beautiful women here today. Talented, gorgeous, wonderful, generous. Anna Gutmanis.
Okay, so this is a tune that I first released in 1984 to Ontario College Radio. The time has come to release it digitally. It's sad but true, and you'll know what I mean when you hear the lyrics. And it's called Empire. C minor.
Spends his time knocking on a wall. You can hear him shouting in the hall. He never lets up, even in the still of the morning. Hey there, missy, something isn't right. You know you'd better paint your body white. That's the last time I'm gonna give you a warning. This is a fine, upstanding man. He's well respected. Everybody knows that he can protect his way of clean living. He won't ever need forgiving. Build your empire on the quagmire of our bones and blood. But it's over, and our clover will grow from your mold. Spends her time mopping all the floors, watching them go in and out the doors. For weeks and weeks, nobody knows what her name is. Oh, till the one day boss man sees she ain't so bad, but she will not just let herself be had. And then she's gone. She don't know what his game is. And this is a fine, upstanding man. He's well respected. Everybody knows that he can protect his way of cleaner living. He won't ever need forgiving. Build your empire on the quagmire of our bones and blood. But it's over, and our clover will grow from your mold. You know, this is a fine, upstanding man. He's so well respected. Everybody knows that he can protect his way of cleaner living. The guy never need forgiving. Whoa, build your empire on the quagmire of our
upon the quagmire of all of our bones and every drop of our blood. But it's someone very high clover is gonna grow from him.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I see the silhouette coming up from. Yes, so I mean, I'm actually happy that you don't take out one of those canes and go, you know, okay. No, it's all good. Thanks for coming. Thanks for putting up with this. Yeah. Thank you, Tom. Woo!
I'm so glad I featured her earlier this year. You can get a decent set from Anna on at the Poetry and Music Salons page. Okay, we have 2 more people to go, so we're going to just rush right through. Fabulous poet, a great friend, a wonderful woman, Karen Shenfeld. Welcome, Karen.
Wow, the lights are bedazzling here. So we're going to go from Anna's passion to some quiet lyric poems that I picked for Stanley. Spring prophecy. Before the melt, he's over our fence, poised on the spry stool, bare head grazing clouds. Deaf to his daughter's worried chorus between rungs of the trellis, he spies tangled twiggy shoots, still asleep, the spent season's tendrils corkscrewing the air in an answered search for a hold. Then sets to work, his shears flash, snip this, then that, without a stutter. Each fluent clip echoes gnarled hills. Afterwards, cuttings plume from turned earth, a rain of sap drums the deck. His words are ripe as grapes. When the vine she is weeping, the wine she will be good. No time for applause today. Wine, unearthed from months aged in the humming cellar where we hopscotched on concrete, blackened our souls. A connoisseur's nightmare, viscous, garnet, bright, brimming mason jars, whose screwed lids thwacked loose with a stainless knife. For Friday's prayer, decanted into beaten silver, a sugared sweetness, releasing the August trellis, buzzing, then picked clean beyond her pantry door. Yes, I kept thinking of Stanley today when I was picking these poems because Stanley Fefferman, he's a very Buddhist man. He meditates, as you heard, but he likes Yiddish. There's no Yiddish in these poems. There's a little Hebrew and a little bit of Sabbath, which today is. Sabbath Queen. I spread the linen cloth over the table, gathered matches, candles, her tarnished silver sticks. My mother does not light the candles. It's nonsense, she says through tight lips. She stands at the kitchen counter and washes the headless bird, plucks its skin clean. The cat rubs her calves, gnaws the bird's red-brown liver at her feet. The sun is pulled down. I cover my head with her lace scarf, recite the words, Lahadlik Ner. I pass my fingers through the flame's base, blue as her shadow on the wall. My mother lies down. I wait for my father. As the queen opens her robed arms, across the darkened sky. So Brenda, just come up here because I can't see you, and let me know if how much time I have. The standing prayer. Menachem prays standing in a warm rectangle of light. Israel prays with his eyes closed, the pages of his pearled book turning in the breeze of his breath. Nathan prays out loud, his recitation, a river washing over polished stones. Yussi races to the 19th blessing, eager to sit down. Abraham stumbles over the syllables' twisting roots. As Nehemiah prays, the crocheted halo of his yarmulke slips from the crown of his head. Kalman prays, stroking his red beard. David prays, shifting his weight from foot to foot, a fighter dodging invisible blows. Oren prays beside his father, the fringes of his prayer shawl almost touching the ground. Shaul prays near the door, the 10th man closing the circle. I pray where I cannot tempt and cannot be counted. My praises and petitions, my thanks, heard or not heard, like those of all the rest.
So much, Karen, beautiful poems. I have Isabel Fryszberg is beautiful, fabulous, wonderful musician and artist. I'm so happy she came out to support this fundraiser. So Izzy's our last feature. So enjoy.
It's an honor to be here. I feel bathed by beautiful music and beautiful poetry, and I feel like this is the last offering for this great dinner that I've had the pleasure to feast on. This tune that I'm going to start us off with is about since we're looking at a world that's full of brokenness, and when things are in need, there's nothing perfect in this world, and this song is a response to that. And when ultimately what you need is that compassion or tenderness or gentleness to deal with the things that are incomplete or imperfect. And this is a song that I wrote with Tony Corrington. Life will give and life will take, precious things so quickly break. All of us are left with scars like crumbling buildings and rusted cars. We all come from brokenness, aching for some gentleness in her torn and tattered dress, returning home to tenderness. Dreams so bright they dim and fade, come undone or get mislaid. Friends and jobs that seem so sure, shaken now and insecure. We all come from brokenness, longing for some love, I guess, in a torn and tattered dress, returning home to tenderness. Promises get broken too, broken me and broken you. Garbled talk on worn out phones, broken English, broken bones. We begin so fresh and new. Seems there's nothing we can't do. Starting out so strong and sane, landing in a hurricane. We all come from brokenness, stumbling into holiness in a torn and tattered dress, returning home to tenderness. We all come from brokenness, nothing more and nothing less, in a torn and tattered dress, returning home to tenderness. Thank you. It's so beautiful to sing to poets and musicians because you guys listen. It's such an honor. I wish there was a microchip that would automatically tune. I bet they're going to do that one day. And that'd be great. Okay, here's a new song. So many venues are being closed, and the one just around the corner, Honest Ed's, just closed down. Who knows what it's going to be replaced with? There's promises for something new and better. But there's something that's being lost, and this song is a response to that. It's an end of an era, and everything's closing. A club and a store, and everyone's posing. There's a price to be paid for a world to be saved. As I'm staying at home, sipping my Netflix. You talk about nothing but liking and sharing. You fight for survival, huffing and puffing. As you turn out the lights, and there's no sleep tonight. As you walk without sight, watching my Netflix. I don't wanna lose live music. I don't wanna lose and the neighbors. I don't wanna lose shut my door. I turn out the lights and turn on my Netflix. I don't want to lose live music. I don't want to lose dancing with my neighbors. I don't want to lose this connection. The third dimension in 3 dimensions. The third dimension in 3 dimensions. The third dimension in 3 dimensions. Is that it? It's okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Isabel. That was beautiful. And it's very sad Honested's is gone. It's like a whole part of the city and a part of the city's history that's, passing by. So thank you, everybody who came out to perform and read their poetry. You were all phenomenal. And thank you to everybody who came to watch, to support this fundraiser. So again, thank you to everybody. Thank you to Bobby especially. And, maybe we'll see you next month.